I debated on making this video for a long time, but felt it was the right thing to do. With that being said, this video is for new owners of the Hummer H2. It's more or less a warning of some of the negative people that you're going to potentially run into as an owner of this vehicle. All right, here we go. Understand that 95 to 98% of the information online is negative when it comes to the H2. You're not going to be able to reason with these people. They are completely devoid of common sense, logic, and reasoning. It can be very upsetting, annoying as an owner to see this information online. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to accept it for what it is. When it comes to getting advice on the H2, this is a mistake that I made when I originally began researching the H2, was you want to make sure you get advice from someone who actually owns the vehicle, has driven the vehicle. If you ask someone who has never owned the H2 what it's like, or what do you think about buying the H2, in all likelihood, you're going to get a negative or incorrect response. Someone like myself, I have owned the vehicle for approximately almost 3 years. I've rebuilt the transmission myself, restored the power, water leaks, uploaded 100 plus videos to YouTube. So again, I like to think that I provide pretty reasonable and accurate information on what you're getting yourself into. However, it's very important to get a second opinion. And I want you guys to get a second opinion. If you're someone out there, you've come across my videos, you're like, wow, okay, this is cool, this is interesting. This is what I was looking for. What I want you guys to do next is go online and get a second opinion, get a third opinion, all right? And then you can compare, contrast, and then make your own educated decision, all right? Here we go. This is, someone I, had respect for. They actually ended up talking smack behind my back when I purchased the H2. They were saying how they can't wait till I get stuck. These people, they reveal their true character over time. Everybody does. But, what type of person says that, guys? So that's very disgusting. All right. Moving on. Hold on one sec, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta reposition. Okay, moving on. My YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, I have been told I'm an idiot. And the comment was, this guy's an idiot, don't listen to him. And my response to this individual was something on the lines of, instead of doing something positive with your life, you're on my YouTube channel calling a stranger an idiot. This is just total loserdom. Something along those lines. Dude never apologized. However, he did delete his comment shortly after that. Another comment that I thought was, worthy of discussing was someone said, don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it was referring, when I said, an H2 with 100,000 miles, I would consider that a high mileage H2. Now, why is that? All right, at 100,000 miles, let me tell you guys what you're getting yourself into when you're coming up on that 100,000 mile number. Transmission rebuild around the corner, fuel pump, spark plugs, coil packs, potential radiator failure around the corner, external transmission cooler being installed, getting rust off the vehicle, restoring trim that's faded, cleaning the vehicle. At 100,000 miles, fluids, they're going to need flushed. So transmission, something I'd recommend that nobody else talks about, is the transmission shift module. The ones that come on these vehicles stock, it's a bad design, and they did come out with a new design that made things better. So again, there's another topic that I've just discussed. Another comment I came across was someone said, why even make a video? This sounds terrible. All right, guys, imagine you want to cross the desert. Would it be advisable to talk to someone who had crossed the desert that you want to cross? Absolutely. You know, when you're talking to that person, they would say something like this. Yeah, you know what? I went this way. I went that way. And make sure you don't go, you know, over here. It was a mistake. I had to come back this way. You want to make sure when you're going through the pass, you go through the pass on the right. There's actually 2 passes. You know, little things like that to make your way through the desert. So, absolutely insane. Okay, moving on. Thank you for your patience while I flip through my notes. Okay. I have been recently researching the Hummer EV. Without going into too many details on the Hummer EV, one of the things that I came across was people talking smack on the H2 in their videos. This is actually quite a few videos. They're just talking smack on these vehicles. It was men and women from different backgrounds. Like the one guy, actually the woman as well. You know, the H2 gets 1 mpg per gallon. And I've actually talked about this propaganda in a prior video. And my comment was something on the lines of, there's people out there, it might as well be like negative 100 mpg to the gallon. And I remember thinking to myself, there's people out there, that's what they think. It's 1 mpg per gallon. And like, this is where they grill you at, you know, online. Look at this, guys. This cobweb keeps popping up here. This is pretty wild. Look at that. Wow. All right. So again, the propaganda around these machines, it still exists. So moving on to, you know, topic number 7, I have had family, coworkers, just people that I know in general. These people are extremely highly successful, millions of dollars in the bank. Good for them. That's fantastic. And they've made the comment to me, oh my God, how can you afford that? You know, so you'd be surprised how many people are financially successful and completely financially illiterate. It sounds insane, but it's really true. Recently, I have uploaded several Hummer H2 commercials that I have remastered. For me to remaster those commercials, guys, and really restore and make them viewable again, I had to purchase an expensive laptop, software. A lot of time went into those videos, you know, editing, understanding the settings, trial and error. It was a lot of time, a lot of trial and error. With that being said, some of you guys may have noticed, you know, the Halo 3 commercial that I uploaded on my channel. And I posted the clip on Reddit. I just wanted to share with people how incredible the footage looks on Reddit. And to my surprise, actually not really, now that I think about it, people were just coming out of the woodwork bashing what I had completed. Just tons of negativity, arguing with me, saying that the AI did all the work. Let me tell you guys, those commercials, you know, if I put in the wrong settings, it'll look absolutely horrific. So you have to learn the program, input the correct settings, and there was nobody on YouTube discussing on how to do it properly, so I had to educate myself on how to do it. With that being said, just understand that the losers always outnumber the winners. 1,000 people in a race, there's one winner, 999 losers. And there's a lot of people, when they lose the race, they get jealous over the winner. And, you know, they make fun of him or her. It's always been that way. So, something to keep in mind. I ended up just deleting the post. I mean, last thing I want to deal with is any type of negativity. And that's why I'm making this video, so you guys, you know, aren't caught off guard when one of these idiots from Clown World comes around and makes a comment. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember watching Yellow Blue H2. He talked about this. All right, we're coming to the end of the video, ladies and gentlemen. sticky notes. I actually came across one dude on, I think it was Reddit. There are some cool people on Reddit, but again, most of those people on Reddit are crazy. And he talked about sticky notes on his windshield. People type up notes, they put it underneath your windshield wipers. So again, it hasn't happened to me, but that guy was an OG owner, and he talked about how that has happened to him a few times. To wrap up, I want to give you guys some of my life, or how do I say this? To wrap this up, I want to pass along to you guys one of my life philosophies. 99% of people are reporters in this life. Now, there are like 0.01% of reporters that actually do some incredible investigative work that leads to, the bad guys going to jail and getting what they deserve. However, that's very, very, very few and far in between. Understand that 99.99% of people are reporters in life. These people, okay, their lives are based completely on what other people do. And I used to be part of this crowd. I will admit it. When you go online and where am I at here? For example, okay, you go online, Trump makes a speech. There's 25 people in that room, reporters. Their careers are completely based on what Donald Trump does and says. They go online, or they get out of the Oval Office, they go online, they write up a news report of what Trump said, all right? And then more videos are made, and that's what people talk about. They talk about what someone else is doing. Example, like a new iPhone comes out or iPad, there are millions of videos made and news articles all over the internet. People talking about what a design team of 6 people made. 6 people make an iPhone, and then off of that, literally, people spend a crazy amount of time discussing about what the design team built. The NFL, there's a real common one. There are people who sit around on Sunday, and I used to be part of this crowd, watching other people make a living, talking and deciding what they're going to do next on the field. There's 22 people on the field, and there's 100 million people watching what they're doing. So the point I'm trying to make, all right, with this last comment is that when you're driving your H2, all right, when you're on the road, loving life, just enjoying this incredible vehicle and machine, these people are going online, acting as reporters, and they're talking about, hey, I saw they're going online, I saw a guy driving a yellow H2 today. What is he doing on the road? He can't make it in our neighborhood. I mean, it's just so pathetic. These people, that's how they live their lives. You're on the field. When you're driving an H2, all right, you're on the field. You're one of the NFL players on the field, and then there's people, they're watching what you're doing, all right? So again, understand that 99% of people, 99.99% of people, their lives are based on what other people do. And I'll tell you guys, I might ruffle a few feathers over the years when people start talking to me about what some celebrity said. I say to them, what are you doing? I want to hear what you're up to. And they kind of look at you like, what do you mean? What are you doing? Are you going anywhere? I want to hear about you, reading a book, a documentary, traveling somewhere, doing something interesting. My buddy goes on hunting trips and shows me, the locations he scouts out. I'm interested in what someone is doing. I don't want to hear what other people are doing. So when you're driving the H2 and you're behind that wheel, just remember, you're on the field, and that's a good thing.